Hello, my loves. We're going to do something extra today. This episode, I prefer to say session. This session of With Love, Danielle is going to be like a micro workshop. I'm going to give you a thought, a little philosophy on different areas of our lives, like our body, our breath, our stillness. And I'm going to ask you some questions about your relationship to those healing areas of life. You ready? Let's just go. Okay, your body. Here's my theory. The body's function is to transmit love. The body's function is to transmit love. It's just a vehicle, a conduit for us figuring out our true nature, right? So like my really beautiful, juicy, gorgeous life Shakti friend, Rochelle Sheik says, she created this beautiful movement system called Koya. You spell that Qoya. And she always says, through movement, we remember. What are we remembering? We're remembering our connection to source. So the body's function is to transmit love. So here's your first question. And by the way, I'm going to put all of these questions into a love note for you. So if you go to daniellelaporte.com/love note, I'll do one beautifully designed PDF. Everything in that love note section is always free. It's always accumulating more goodness with every podcast session. Here we go. What's the question? Beyond fitness and building physical strength, how can you move your body to experience your body as a conductor of love? So basically, what kind of movement would have you knowing, would have you being that you are actually a vehicle of love? It could be dance, it could be yoga, it could be swimming in the ocean, love making, nursing your baby, jumping jacks, holding hands, just holding hands, healing touch. What has you already know that your body is a conductor of love? Second question, and maybe you want to press pause so you could actually journal this or answer this for yourself right now. What would your love letter to your body say? If you were going to write a love letter to your body, what would you say? And isn't that so antidotal, such a counter move to how so many of us live our lives so much of the time, with really constant critique? We're too tall, too short, too wide, too brown, too white, too curvy, not curvy enough in all the places, all the bumps, all the grooves, all the aches, all the pains, really complaint and conflict with our bodies. What if it was just like, thank you for helping me be a conduit of love. Thank you, legs, for helping me walk through the world. Thank you, hands, for helping me feed myself, feed others, type things that are healing messages to elevate humanity. Thank you for helping me experience touch. Thank you, nervous system, for helping me experience all of life on the planet. Thank you, body, for all of these reasons. All right, take a deep breath in. Feel that fullness and then a long exhale. Exhale longer than you inhaled. Let's talk about breath. So I used to think about breath work as something that was just kind of light. Like, how could breath work be more effective than like a coffee colonic or being in a workshop full of strangers? I was grossly underestimating the power of mindfully breathing. Breath brings us to our most primal and profound power. I believe that mindful breathing is the surest way to come into the present moment, with the seagulls flying overhead and all the things. And when we let the breath, when we use the breath, when we sync with the breath to become present, all the power and all the clarity of mind that we need is right there. If we ever need evidence that we are not alone, we only need to inhale. So, question, what's your relationship to breathing? Do you have a conscious relationship to breathing? Are you just like casually dating breathing? Or are you deeply committed to it? Okay, now I have a little micro exercise for you. If you can do this, close your eyes. Close your eyes and visualize your respiratory system. So you see your beautiful pink lungs behind your rib cage. You notice that your left lung is cradling your heart. Do you know that your left lung is a little bit smaller than your right lung because it is like this cushion, this home for your heart? You can see your bronchial system, just like the root system of a great deep tree running through your lungs. You notice your throat column traveling up to your sinuses behind your nose, behind your eyes. Okay, now take a deep, full breath. Have your exhale be longer than your inhale. Now, if you were to write a thank you letter to your respiratory system, what would you say? Maybe thank you for life. Let's switch gears. Natural segue from breathing to stillness. Here's a beautiful quote from Ram Dass. Much of spiritual work is slowing down enough to let our minds come into harmony with our hearts. I think we ache for stillness. I think in our productivity obsessed societies, stillness is actually the revolution. I know that when I get still, that's when I hear the good stuff, the higher stuff. I think tapping into the power of stillness is about sequencing. So it's not about how much can you be still in your day. It's about when you create the stillness. So maybe you've heard me talk about the stillness sandwich before. It's like this. You're still in the beginning of the project, of the day, of the relationship. And then you rock and roll, and then you're still at the end. So it's really the same principle as Shavasana. So Shavasana is that final pose that you take in a yoga class, also known as the corpse pose. You're just lying on your back. Whereas my yoga teacher Wesley says, like a starfish. And the idea with Shavasana is that we become still at the end of a yoga practice to integrate all of the benefits of the work that we've done. It's not just to chill and zone out. We're like absorbing. We are assimilating all of the movements. So stillness isn't the absence of movement. Stillness isn't the absence of movement. It's a focus on the present. And presence is the great nervous system regulator. So, question, what's your relationship to stillness? What's your relationship to stillness? When does it feel easy to be still? When does it feel difficult? Did you feel panicky just at the thought of me talking about stillness? Did you feel a longing? Is there a craving? What's your relationship to stillness? And the next question, practically speaking, because practicality is calming, what would it look like to build a stillness sandwich into your day? So what would that look like? What would you have to move around? What would you have to shift to start your day with intentional sacred stillness and to end your day intentionally with sacred stillness? Let's talk about sleep. One of the greatest notes that I got on physical healing came from my osteopath. She let me know that the body only heals during sleep. I don't know if that's actually true, but I would go with 80% of my healing happens when I sleep. I'm going to say that last line over again. I would go with 80% of my bodily healing happens when I sleep. And then there's all the astral stuff. I think of sleep as a time when a few things can happen. One, we're going to university we're going to night school. We're getting extra yogic, cosmic, universal wisdom kind of teachings. 2, we're taking out all of our psychological trash, the things that we haven't processed during the day, get processed at night. 3, that's when the creepy crawlers come. So that's why we want to be sleeping mindfully. We want to be using love as our protection. We want to take out the trash during the day so it doesn't attract critters. You know what I mean? So, question. What was your relationship to sleep like when you were a child? Did you want to go to bed? Did you resist going to bed? Did you love it? Was it comforting? Was it a punishment? What was your relationship to sleep like when you were a child? And what's your relationship to sleep now? Same kind of resistance? Different kind of love? Is it no longer a punishment, but the greatest gift you can give yourself to be in the sheets by 10 p.m. every night? If sleep were your lover, what would you say to it? What's the quality of your relationship to sleep? Hey, speaking of nervous systems, I have a new program out called the Nourish System. It's 8 modules that we deliver once a week to help you reduce stress, actually possible, and restore your nervous system. And what's really cool about this offering is I'm taking a more spiritual, heart-centered, metaphysical approach to nervous system restoration. And what's cool about this program is the emphasis is on a spiritual, heart-centered approach to nervous system regulation. So yes for supplements and yes for cold plunging if that's what your body is calling you to do, but more yes with the connection between you and your everyday life and your soul. Compassionate, simple practices that help us move out of our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. And a much deeper look at how our nervous system dysregulation affects our relationships and vice versa. And how when we can come to inner balance, we become way less triggerable and much more loving to ourselves and to other people. Head to daniellelaporte.com/Nourish System. Let's talk about meditation. Do you know my theory on meditation? Meditation is like people in committed relationship. There's the kind of person who says, oh yeah, I'm not into commitment. And I say, oh, you just wait until you fall in love with the right kind of person. You're going to be all over commitment. It's the same thing with meditation. For those of us who are just like not into it, I say, just wait until you find the right meditation. Meditation is not one size fits all. You got to experiment. You got to work with different teachers, different methodologies and modalities. And it's just like discovering the right relationship. Finding the right meditation will be life-changing. Okay, so I have a cluster of questions for all levels of meditators. This is for the resistant folks. These are for the seasoned Zen enlightened practitioners. What do you want from your meditation practice? What do you actually want from your meditation practice? Is it about nervous system regulation? Is it about feeling more connected to the divine? Is it about clearing your mind? Is it about prepping for the day, building esteem? Are you more focused on heart rate variability? Which teachers do you actually resonate with? Do you want more emphasis on breath work? Do you want more emphasis on visualization? Do you want to be in motion while you meditate? Would a walking meditation be best for you? Do you want to chant? Do you want to be guided? All considerations. This is just like finding the right fitness instructor. What kind of weights do you want to lift? How do you want to move your body? Same thing with your heart and mind. Okay, another cluster of questions. Do you want your practice to be an overt form of seva? Meaning, is your meditation practice all about selfless service for you? Do you want to meditate so that you can heal relationships? Is your focus on healing the past, working with grievances, forgiving? Are you looking to cleanse your mind, land into your heart? You want to get into alignment with your soul? Are you seeking comfort? That's cool. Are you looking for guidance from your unseen support system? Is your meditation practice a way for you to express your gratitude for being alive? Is this about your reverence to creation? Let's talk about prayer. Our prayer life can be about intense, fervent, fiery praise. It can be this place for unmitigated, deep longing and searching. Some days our prayers are pleading, those really vulnerable requests to the divine. I think prayer is one of the most intimate forms of conversation that we can have. Question: what's your relationship to praying? Next question: do you want to shift your relationship to prayer in any way? For a long time, I approached prayer like it was this negotiation. If I showed up and I was like my really diligent spiritual self, then the divine was going to give me what I asked for. Or more like the divine was going to deem me worthy of getting what I wanted. And my relationship to prayer has really shifted over the years. I show up in gratitude. I ask for what it is that I need. And I give thanks that in some dimension, what I've requested is already formed. And I'm just going to walk into that realization. This would be a good place for a deep breath. We're going to talk about silence. Actually, I'm just going to let this run for about 15 seconds. Silence, actual silence. Here we go. It's not an error in the recording. We're just going to be quiet. Take a deep breath in. We did it. Thomas More says, silence is not an absence of sound, but rather a shifting of attention towards sounds that speak to the soul. What's your relationship to silence? Do you seek it? Do you avoid it? When was the last time that you intentionally chose silent time? Does the thought of 3 days in a cabin without music or TV make you anxious, or does it have you just crave in the best way for it? Next question. What's the quality of silence between you and other people? Are you comfortable with it? Do you fill the air with other sounds? Do you chat it up, fill a conversation? Who can you be silent with and simultaneously be at ease? Is there anybody you can be with where silence actually feels like it's nurturing? It's a vitamin? Okay, then if we're going to talk about silence, then I have to ask you, what does listening feel like to you? What does listening feel like? How can you support yourself to listen more or to listen more lovingly? And this includes listening to yourself. How do we listen with kindness, with compassion? How can we keep our curiosity gentle and open? What does listening feel like? What would you like listening to feel like? Take a deep breath. Let's talk about rest. Yeah. We rest to become stronger. We rest to become wiser. We rest because rest is love. Sometimes we have to cajole ourselves, right? To convince ourselves that rest is going to have us be more productive. It's this mind trick that we do with our obsession with productivity. I think there's this space between when we're exerting ourselves and pushing and striving in a healthy way. Got to get stuff done. We need to effort for the right reasons. And then there's this gap called rest. And then there's restoration. If we skip over resting, we're going to miss the insights from all of that exertion, right? When we rest, we become wiser. And then the insights guide us to the next step. That's why rest, I think, is scary for so many of us, because we don't know what's on the other side of the pause. But if we don't rest, we don't see what we've learned along the way. We don't integrate. We don't become stronger. So I've got 2 quotes for us from 2 dear friends. I'm going to spin these into questions. First, we have Octavia Rahim. She drops a really big cue for us about the fear of rest. She says, "You will not be left behind if you pause. You will gain more insight about your journey, and this may cause you to change course. So perhaps that is what some of us fear in the pause, that they will finally realize that another way is calling them." So here's my question. Is there anything that you fear in the pause? And then we have my beautiful Empress Yoga Nidra teacher friend, Tracy Stanley. Here's her direct question for us. If part of your legacy were to change the relationship to rest and self-care for your family lineage, how would you begin? If part of your legacy were to change the relationship to rest and self-care for your family lineage, how would you begin? All right, and we're going out with the biggest healer of all, nature. Let me quote for you some Alan Watts. "We do not come into this world. We come out of it as if leaves from a tree. As the ocean, quote, waves, the universe, quote, peoples." As the ocean waves, the universe peoples. It's a verb, you see. Every individual is an expression of the whole realm of nature, a unique action of the total universe. Everything we are, how we move, everything we do, everything we experience, all of our relationships, everything we have and own is because of Mother Gaia. Nature is the connection to the divine feminine. Nature is our direct connection to the divine feminine force. The earth, her body, is like a battery charger of energy. So ideally, we enter into a more conscious relationship with nature. We bring our most sacred, reverent, grateful intentions to connect. We show up to the mother in gratitude, and that thankfulness, that appreciation deepens the restoration that she's always giving us. So question, what's your current relationship to nature? What's your current relationship to nature? And next question, how has your relationship to Mother Earth changed over time? It's really a great way to track our consciousness. How has your relationship to Mother Earth changed over time? What's your relationship to what nourishes you? Your body, your breath, your stillness, your sleep, your meditation, your prayers, your silence, your rest, and you and Mother Gaia herself. Everything is energy. We're always exchanging energy. That means we are in relationship with everything around us all the time. What's the intention of how we relate? Because the quality of our relationships determines the quality of our lives. All right, my loves, if this is nourishing in any way, please do the do so we can get more love and light into the algorithm. Leave a review, actually subscribe, maybe pass this on to a friend who needs some healing this week. If you're following me on Instagram, you should know that I just started a little broadcast channel. Just go to my Instagram profile, you can join that, and a few times a week, I'm giving you audio prayers. Really simple, short, and deep. In the next few podcast sessions, we'll be talking about getting free and getting clear, how to end this year really mindfully. Side note here, January is not the new year. I use January to just keep it dark and mucky and letting go and brewing and stewing. And then I consider the Lunar New Year, which is happening in February, really the true fresh start. And I can feel that fresh, clean, beginning energy come in, and I hitch my wagon to that. As always, I'm so glad you're here. With love, Danielle. Thank you so much for listening, for feeling, for spreading the word. With love.